I'm Michael with WriterSanctuary. Now, have you ever thought about where you wanted to be in 10 years? I know I never really thought about it until I looked back at the last decade. And I can tell you this, I had no idea that I'd be where I am today back in 2015. Back then, everything was more about surviving rather than planning. The problem is that I highly doubt that I can actually create a 10-year plan, mostly because my life is so chaotic. I mean, hell, nowadays, mostly just keeping the day-to-day going is a extreme chore. Still, it could be a useful exercise to at least have some idea of where I want to go. Now, back in 2015, I was merely trying to keep myself and my family afloat. I had quit the school district 2 years prior and was focusing more on writing content for content mills. I don't remember ever thinking that I would have 2 books published, a third almost completed, a monetized YouTube channel, and as many blogs as I have today. Of course, back then I was also in the middle of a fairly deep depression, as noted in my book, A Freelancer's Tale. So, being where I'm at today is quite a happy surprise. Because I put so much effort into learning and growing as a writer and author, I am light years ahead of where I was back in 2015. Not to mention being mentally healthier. And it's those things that you want to embrace. Instead of getting sucked into the failures of the past, embrace the things you've accomplished. Now, throughout the last decade, I've made a lot of money, made some great friends, and I've helped hundreds of people find their writing paths, whether they be bloggers, freelancers, or self publishing authors. Makes me wonder just how much of a difference I want to make in 10 years from now. Now, if I put in the same effort and gusto that drove me to become a professional writer in the first place, 2020, 2035 is going to look pretty freaking amazing. And that's my point of all this, actually. All the actions you take today are going to add to the successes in 10 years down the road. I pushed myself pretty hard to become the writer I am today, and although I still have quite a bit to learn and develop, the differences between today and 2015 are night and day. The sad part is that I could be further than I am today if I had worked harder on self confidence. Me and I turned down a lot of potentially life changing opportunities because I didn't feel I was worthy enough. And don't get me started on how many stories I wrote throughout my entire life that I tossed in the trash. And they were plentiful. The bottom line is that no matter how hard things get, you are nowhere near where you're going to be in 10 years down the road as long as you put in the effort to do so.
Never give up, never surrender.
Now, sure, you can work toward specific goals, but there are a lot of things that can derail those plans. Life has a way of happening whether you want it to or not. And sometimes those life changes are epic, and not in the good Las Vegas way. Now, this doesn't mean that you'll wind up being a failure, though. Your plans and goals can easily change depending on the situation. And from what I've experienced, it usually works out for the better. Because I never gave up as a writer, the last 10 years were always going to unfold in a certain way. And that way was just expanding on my writing. It's just kind of cool that this path has led me to being involved in a lot of author focused projects instead of just being a ghostwriter. Now, don't get me wrong, ghostwriting on Textbroker will always have a special place in my heart. If it wasn't for Textbroker, I wouldn't have thought to put in the effort to be a writer. But taking advantage of certain opportunities over the past decade has brought me to a place that is well beyond where I was. Kinda. I was going to say instead of being cooped up in a basement in a room being a ghostwriter, that now I'm cooped up in a basement being an author. Completely different situation, though. This basement, much more open. Besides, it's one of the few places in this house that are actually remain quiet for extended periods of time. And one of these days, I will get my external office, but in the meantime, I'm taking up this little corner. But anyway, so here's the next 10 years and where it might lead. Now, even if something sets you back, never give up on where you want to go. By staying the course, you'll experience some great things along the way. And some of them may even be better than where you thought you wanted to head to in the first place. In 2015, I didn't think of myself as anything more than just a ghostwriter on Textbroker. Now I've got 2 books published. I'm about to publish a third one here in the next couple of weeks. A fourth one is almost all the way completed. I've got a growing YouTube channel. So no, none of this is where I thought I was going to be back in 2015. But I decided to keep putting in the effort and growing and becoming who I am today. It all centers around how much you want it. You might not travel the exact path you want, but you'll still get there eventually. Anywho, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. For more videos about self-publishing, blogging, freelance writing, or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think it's going to do it for me today. I'm going to edit this video and plan out the live stream. I'll see you next time.